Good evening to you. I'm Jessie Johnson. I'm here to speak with you on the sacred scriptures of the atheist. These are the atheist's holy sutras. This is part 9, and we will begin at verse 11 of Sutras, number 1 of the pages of life and death. Hold on, please. Good morning to you all. Verse 11. Fear produces loss of communion with the non-religion divine. The living mystery that is the all-omni-divine. There's no religion or one God in this. That does not exist. Number 12. At the threshold of death, the ego confronts its own limitations. It, the ego, or false personal self, faces the ultimate ineffectiveness of all its gestures, arguments, methods, and knowledge. Number 13. The human who knows there's no escaping death understands. Death is an indefinite and liberate intention. Do not hold to the words and imagination that's produced when hearing this. Verse 14. When there's fear and dying of the body and mind, or when that which one identifies with dies, there's no longer a fixation on things. There's only total accepted reality, fully and directly, untouched, unborn, sublimity, without a false sense of separation, without individuation, without a thing from which to be separated. 15. Thinking and intellect will not work here. You must be free of every form of seeking and clinging. Verse 16. The supreme be, not being, the supreme be is transcendental supreme omni-consciousness, eternity without addition of communication from any other source. There is only reality. The non-religion, non-one God or gods, supreme self, non-ego, all utter omni, supreme nature support of all things and beings. The eternal genius be, trans-existence being, but be, trans-existence being. Once again, the eternal genius be, not being, trans-existence being, but be, trans-existence. 17. All ego, thought, the body, conditions, seeming subjective and objective, are a single, pan-inclusive, where not even nothing is left out, cosmic universal process of spontaneous, instantaneous, non-present, trans-infinitesimal, durationless, infinite, mechanismless, transforming now moments arising. Verse 18. The ego is a presumed personal center. The ego is not something in itself, but only a secondary process of tendencies. There's no true self there. Verse 19. Fear of death is anxiety, emotional recoil in anticipation of the projected event of death. Death is a necessary. Learn to cooperate with the death process. Otherwise, death will seem painful and disturbing. Release and relax and surrender into cooperation while alive. The right way is love, surrender, not recoil or withdrawal. The pages of self-reliance and death and life, Sutras, number 2. Verse 20. Death is a process of self-change, self-transcendence, where the egoic mind-made false self dissolves. Number 21. The true self is non-ego, self-radiant, transcendental beyond existence being. The ultimate reality of all pervading cosmic universe presence. It cannot be proven or disproven. It can only be realized. It is prior to death, life, non-religion God. The only acmeic, akashic God, not one or more and not zero. Number 22. Every feature and element of all things and beings is constructed out of a universal field of non-ego, non-person, non-body mind consciousness. All things arise in and as the substance of the universal field of 90 dimensions and its subdimensions. There is only reality. Number 23. Fear of death is caused by ego stress and must be transcended while alive. Number 24. Do not fear death, for the inherent and ultimate transcendence of death and all else is an aspect of your being. Thinking, intellect, and thought cannot reach this. True transcendence of the false self is a matter of understanding, love, and equanimity. It is the way of life as well as death. 25. There is no Creator God. True creation is an impossibility in this physical universe and do not exist in nature. Nature do not permit the existence of God or gods. Do not fear death. Death is a transition for which you simply prepare for. Number 26. Death is a process of transition, a process of transformation. You are yielded into the divine radiance, divine condition, the non-electromagnetic light of truth. The Creator, one God or gods of your religion do not exist. 27. If you are dressed in the brightest and cleanest all-white clothing in a large, bright white room, how would you feel? Death is not to be feared in principle, but to be rightly oriented towards. It is a conscious and needed responsibility one must take. You have only one extended life and only one extended death. Everything, no matter how long it stays, passes away. Death is not a negative, but a natural event. This has been the pages of self-radiance and death and life. Part 10 will begin at the pages of self-radiance and death and life at verse 28. I want to thank everyone for listening and watching, and I want everyone to have a good day.